What's up, boys? In today's video, we're going to go over how to beat Mech. Now, I know Uthermals already made a video on it, and I'll put that on screen now, and as always, the replay will be in the description below. But I still get a lot of people asking me, Calyx, I'm struggling with Mech, how do I beat this? How do I beat Tank Viking? How do I beat Battlecruiser? And I want to give you guys my perspective on Mech and give you a more modern game because Uthermals video is pretty old, and since there's a lot of people asking me about this, I thought I would make a video. So, without further ado, let's get into it. I'm playing against somebody who I believe is around 4.9k MMR, barcode Terran. And the build doesn't really matter. We're going to go through the early game, and as we're doing that, I'm just going to straight up tell you how to beat Mech. What you need to do is two things. You need to get ahead economically, and then use that economy lead to get ahead in air units with your starports. Because Liberators with Liberange hard counter Thors, and Liberators obviously beat tanks, and you can make Ravens. This is how you beat Mech, with starport units. Do not play like 8 racks and mass units into tanks. That's not how you beat it. You need to make sure that you're getting that starport transition on time. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. Now, with that out of the way, let's talk about the push here. So my opponent actually played really greedy this game. I'm pretty sure, at least. I think his third base was really fast, and if you look, my third base is literally just now landing. So remember what I said about being ahead economically? This player knows that, so he went for a really greedy third CC. And this is very popular from Mech players in general, is to go for a really quick 3cc. Because it makes it so much easier for them if they get away with it. And in the early game, they do get away with it a lot of the time because they have so many tanks and so many Vikings. With that said, we're going to still talk about how to get that economic advantage. So I'm doing my Raven push. And before we actually talk about the engagement here or how to get ahead economically, first, we need to scout Mech. Now, if you're playing a standard build order, in TVT, always scan before you build the add-ons on 4th and 5th barracks. So right before 4th and 5th barracks are done, you should scan your opponent's main base, see if he has a bunch of factories, and if he does, 4th and 5th barracks are going to be tech labs instead of reactors. That is huge, and that will help so many people just knowing that one fact. But with that said, you can still learn if it's Mech in-game. So I'm seeing 4 tanks here, and I have 3 tanks and a Cyclone. So I'm like, okay, this could be Defender's advantage, you know. And I'm going to go for my fight. So I'm going to go ahead and disable. And you might wonder, like, why don't my games look like this? Like, why can't I run in and disable all these tanks and get a good fight? And, you know, my opponent played a really fast third base. He had all of his Vikings over here because he didn't do any scouting. People are not perfect. And if you can't find an opening, you'll find one later. But right now I found an opening, and I'm going to come into the natural here and try to get my money's worth out of this Raven push, basically. So I come in, kill the tanks, and I'm going to go ahead and kill this 4th base. Now, another thing is, remember how I'm talking about the starports and how you have to get ahead? Killing these Vikings is a massive momentum gain for me. To be able to do this, kill these Vikings, if I get a good trade here, that will be massive for me. Because I'm going to be slowly winning in Vikings, and I'll be able to start my Liberator transition earlier. Now, I actually come in here and land my Vikings, which is not a good move at all. I trade 2 Vikings for 1 worker there. Not worth it. So, don't recommend that move. And yeah, so my 4th base is now the same speed as his 4th base. I didn't allow him to get away with anything greedy. You could see he's still up a worker, even though I just killed some SCVs. And that just goes to show how he's trying to get away playing greedy. And you can't let these Mech players do that, guys. Now, with that said, I do want to bring up something. What is the Mech player trying to do? What's his goal in the game? And the goal from Mech generally is to make a really powerful army and then move out and kill you with it. You're not really scared of him turtling, of him sitting there with missile turrets and tanks. You're scared of the move out as the bio player. And with that said, The weakness of Mech is that when it's unsieged, it can be pretty vulnerable, and it's very slow. Whereas with Bio, you have high mobility. So you can use these advantages in your games, right? Surround your opponent in the middle of the map. Although it's not ideal when they move out, there's still things that you can do. You really want them to stay at home in Turtle while you take all the bases in the world and defend all of their Hellion run-bys and get the starport units that you need. So let's continue the replay here. I'm getting 1-1, getting my armory. I'm getting my barracks here. And you might be wondering, when do we transition into starports? And the answer is after your 4th base. So after your 4th base, you should transition into starports. Now, do I know that this is Mech? I was talking about, the tank count maybe as defender advantage. But when I see only tanks and only Vikings, I think it's pretty obvious. And I don't need to scan my opponent at that point. But if I'm maybe uncertain or I just want to be safe, I absolutely can. So I threw down my 4th base and I got 2 more starports, going up to 3 starports. And on 4th and 5th barracks, I'm going to make tech labs like I said earlier. So I'm also going to get my 2nd factory. I want to make sure that I don't fall too far behind in tanks. And I'm going to go ahead and get tech lab on this starport and tech lab on the other starport. This is an option. You don't have to get the tech labs. You could just make Vikings and go straight to Liberators. But Ravens are theoretically the best. Disabling the tanks, disabling the battle cruisers, anti-armor missiling the Vikings. All of these things are really nice. So I should get a tech lab here eventually. I don't know when I do that. Right now it looks like. I put up missile turrets. Why do I do that? Because I'm afraid of Viking drops into my main base. So I just put up a couple missile turrets. And once again, it's after my 4th base. Now, about my 4th base. Notice how I made it an orbital? That might be a little bit surprising to some of you. But versus Mech, you want to make your 4th base an orbital. And the reason is because if he has tanks out here, it's going to be outside of the planetary range and you can't do anything. And you might be like, oh, well, it defends cars. And that also isn't true because he can just send the cars in through this angle, down behind your mineral line, and the cars are hitting your workers and the planetary isn't hitting your cars. So the planetary is not worth it. And like I said earlier, you need to get ahead economically. So versus Mech, you're allowed to make orbitals and they're not. If you notice, he's making a planetary, right? Similarly, I'm building my 5th base on location. Really trying to get ahead economically so I can outproduce him in starport units. And this is how you play against Mech. Now notice how I don't really have that much infantry. I don't have that many Marine Marauder. Marauders are nice, and we should get them versus Mech, but you really want a more tech-oriented army. Don't play 8 racks and shove units into your opponent's siege tanks lines. It's not worth it. Play a more tech-oriented opener. And look at how many Vikings I have. If we look, I have 11 Vikings and he has 10. So I'm already getting my money's worth from my economic advantage. And if you look, not only do I have 1 more Viking, I have 2 Ravens, right? So you can make Vikings or Ravens out of these starports depending on what you need. And I did a nice mix here. And now I'm going to go and try to attack my opponent's natural. You could attack the 4th base too, but a lot of the time it's really hard to get into the 4th base. The planetary, there's so many tanks here and turrets and stuff. And honestly, killing the 4th base is really nice, but if you can get into the natural and control this area, that's really annoying for them because all of their SCVs are coming out from this area, all of their future tanks, and that makes it harder for them to further expand this way. So if you find a weakness in the natural here, this is a great place to attack. Also, if you get really extreme, you control this area, and then you can go from the natural into the main, and you're on top of your production. That's also a win condition. Now let's watch how this fight goes. I'm up in supply, I'm up in Viking count, and I have the 2 Ravens. So I'm going to anti-armor missile the Vikings, and I'm going to go ahead and win the air battle here. Now, as of right now, I should start building Liberators. This is the most important win condition when playing against Mech. You need to build the Liberators. After you kill the Vikings, and you feel confident in your air control, you're going to go ahead and start your Liberator production, which I don't do right now, but you can see I have ship weapons on the way. So the Liberators are going to start very soon. So, did I just kill his turrets? So, if he has turrets in front of his tanks, siege your tanks on his turrets, and you're going to kill the turrets, and he's not going to be able to kill your tanks, and that's very nice. So that's another reason why you want to make sure you get your second factory on time, so that way you can make this move. Now, when do I start producing Liberators? I'm just looking in the top left. I do it right now. So I'm coming in, I have massive air control, massive air dominance. I am not going to land the Vikings. I'm going to use my air control in combination with the Liberators to hard counter him. This is the win condition I keep talking about. Dealing some damage to this base, and my Liberators should be on the way soon. Let's just speed this up a little bit. And where's my Liberator? Yeah, I made too many Vikings this game. I'm not perfect, you know. I'm only a 5K player, not a 6K. And by the way, 6K players are not perfect either. So please keep that in mind. You can make mistakes and still win. And speaking of that, I'm pretty sure I'm going to lose this Liberator here. Even though I have insane air control. Like, why? It's because I'm not perfect, man. It happens. So I got 4 Liberators queued up. And I got my next Liberator here. And as you can see, I'm just fragging on him. What is he going to do? If he has Thors don't really work because I'm going to have tanks behind my Liberators. And I should have Liberator range, but I forgot my Fusion Core. So after your 4th base, go starport number 2, starport number 3, and the Fusion Core. So starport 2 and 3 and the Fusion Core should go together. That way, when the Liberators do come out, they already have a Liberator range. So as you can see, I'm fragging here, and I've already completed the win condition. I lose another Liberator there. But as you can see, I'm just dominating the skies, and he can't really do anything. And once again, like, he has the missile turrets, but I'm just going to go up and siege my tanks on those. As you can see here, I killed the turrets, I killed the tanks, and I'm coming into the natural, controlling this area, and I'm just absolutely destroying him. Alright, and I got lib range on the way and vehicle plating. I even overcommit into some turrets here, which is not ideal. And now here's the battle cruisers. So your opponent, unless if they make battle cruisers really early, they should not be allowed to make battle cruisers. Because you're already fighting for air control, battle cruisers doesn't really make sense unless if, like I said, they're really early. And if that's the case, you need to play a very different style versus Mech. You need to be you need to stay at home until you feel confident enough to move out. You can't just do your Raven push, right? And it becomes a different situation. So if you have questions about that, please let me know. And if you have any replays, I'd be happy to go over them for you. But regardless of that, we're just focusing on tank Viking. So we're going to go ahead and just be winning the air control, and this is honestly kind of falling out of favor for me. So I throw down 5 starports, which is completely fine considering how I have so many bases. I even like overcommit into the natural, kind of trying to throw this game, but it doesn't matter because I'm producing 9 Vikings at a time. And even though his army looks scary, and he's trying to move out, he can't really do anything. So yeah, this is how you beat Mech, is just with starports. Now there's a couple of things I want to point out. If we look here, let's go back. I'm pushing this angle, and then I send infantry over here. So this is really the only purpose that infantry has versus Mech, is that it denies future expansions. So this is a really nice move, just controlling the map, making sure that he's not expanding without already sending units over there. He's not allowed to do that. He has to send his tanks over here and siege them and then land the base. We can't allow him to just get this for free. Also, I'm not sure if I mentioned it, but if your opponent is playing Hellions, you need to leave a tank at each base. So you'll leave a tank here, leave a tank here, leave a tank here, and that will defend all the Hellion run-bys. And the only reason I didn't do that this game is because he was quite literally playing Tank Viking exclusively, and I identified that, and I didn't see any Hellions, right? Now, to be clear, this move is still kind of questionable, not leaving any tanks here. You probably should every time versus Mech, but I just felt confident this game, so I decided not to. But yeah, you don't make planetaries, you just leave a tank here, and if the Hellions come on top of the tank, you're going to go ahead and use your rally. You should have some units coming out from your rally, and you can send those over here, kill the cars, and defend. And yeah, that's it for how to beat Mech. If you have any questions, please let me know. There's a bunch of different variations of Mech, a bunch of different things you can do, and if you struggle, please feel free to send me replays, ask me questions. I'll be happy to help. Now with that, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next video.